welcome to THN's Road to FrightFest series. This is a yearly thing that we do where we kind of dig in and get a little bit more information about some of the films that are screening at the festival. You're obviously both with the festival, with the film The Flesh itself. The first question, how are you feeling about the selection and then the forthcoming screening of the film?
Hi, Kat. Thank you so much for the invitation. Well, for us, it's absolutely crazy because we did a movie for a Brazilian audience about a Brazilian story, and it's so I'm so glad to see that all other audience and other cultures can relate and understand. Well, actually, it's war. I think we
Yeah,
all can relate to that, but
universal. Yeah.
yes, it's universal, but I'm very happy to see how the other people that beside Brazilians can enjoy the movie and they are enjoying the film. So very happy with that.
And for me, I mean, how can this not be the greatest honor? I'm debuting as a producer. I mean, I'm attaching myself to the experience of Ian, which is an amazing director, like with a huge range. He's amazing. If you don't know, he's the king of comedy in Brazil. And then switched to this horror genre, and then we got together and like, can we make this happen? Like a small, very small budget film about a local story, but it's a pretty universal story, though. So we're so glad that and honored, deeply honored that we're there. Featuring our film on this on Fright Fest. I mean, for us, it's just completely out of the box, over our expectations, but you're very honored to be here.
And for people that haven't been doing their reading on the film, how have you been pitching this to people? What's when people kind of say, what story? I mean, just saying there that Ian's known for comedy, when people are going, Ian, what are you working on now? How were you pitching this film to people?
In fact, I guess what we can say that it's the pretty, although it's a Brazilian story, it's a pretty universal theme, as these three soldiers are, they are done with war. They are in middle. This is a very cruel and bloody war in the middle of the forests in the south of Brazil, in Paraguay, and like the cross the like the crossing between Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil. And so it was a very bloody war in the middle of the forest, and they just we're done with this. We'll bail, we'll desert the army, and now they're fleeing their enemies. They're fleeing their own army who's hunting them for deserting, and that was usually punishable by death back then. And then they find this farmhouse, this farmstead in the middle of nowhere, and they wish they were back at the war. By the end of the movie, they wish they were back at the war because all hell gets loose there, and that's just a very very isolated story where you isolate your characters from the rest of the world, and they are wounded, so they can't just run into the woods, and they have to play along with the situation of very bizarre characters that live in this farm.
And this is an actual war. Obviously, a lot of people around the world doesn't know that, but it's the biggest and more terrifying war in South America that we know of course. And it happened almost at the same time of the Civil War in the United States. So it's
Yeah,
like two
kind of matches
200 to 50 years
the
ago. So it was a bloody and terrible war, and we don't discuss as much as we should in Brazil, at least.
it's kind of a
So
stain in
yes,
history of Brazil. So we don't discuss much. We don't learn about much in school. So Ian was very insightful in tapping, like creating this horror story during this time period, which has this universal appeal to understanding the horrors of war, and how, like, it's easy to understand how you want to, like, get out of this hell. And then we tapped into a lot of history of that time. For instance, one of our characters is a former slave. So we tap into the situation where the farmers, like the plantation owners, would contribute with the war effort by donating their own slaves to the war effort. So and say like if you survive this, you're a free man. But you know what,
Yeah,
that situation itself tells a lot about like how society was building itself back then, and how this represents how we built the world that we live in today. Like Brazil has to this day a gigantic racism problem. And
yeah.
like the structure of the racism is in how we built our society around that, coming out of this terrible period. So that's, I mean, that is a very long pitch. I'm
And
extending my answer, but everything is in there.
but just for everybody to know, it's not about the war. The war
Yes, for
is
sure.
it's a
That's a
the
background.
scenario. Yes,
Yeah.
but the story is about these three soldiers and this what happens in this house. And of course, we bring a lot of questions about racism, the slavery, and other things to the table. Literally, you will see.
And how did the idea come together? Did you have the idea of the farmhouse first, or and then go to set it in the war, or was it something where wait, I want to tell a story set in this war, but not a traditional war story? Which came first? How did that come together?
I think all screenwriters has a lot of stories in their mind, and we are always trying to connect and understand what makes sense with another story or another context. I think it's never idea or a story that just came. Well, sometimes yes, but it's not always like this. So I think we have a lot of like this. I have a scrapbook, so I write all the ideas that I have, and sometimes they just connect, and we have a full story to tell.
And it was funny that was a story that connected both of us, like three of us. The other producer, Dave, is not here with us, but Ian had this idea with this, like, this is a slasher, a homestead picture, right? They go to
Yes.
this place and there's a maniac, and that's the thing. And then we were like, we produced podcasts over 20 years in Brazil, and we done a lot of things with Dungeons and Dragons and Cthulhu, and the horror stories, and we created our own characters and our own lore. So we mentioned, mentioned to Ian, do you think that this idea that you had is very, very, it's amazing to tap into this idea, but do you think that we can like Lovecraft this thing, and we can bring some cosmic horror into the subtext of this one, not to throw it in the screen like blatantly, but we can hint it. Are they going insane? Is this like a Lovecraftian insanity movie? Is this real or not? Were they experiencing that? Are they bringing this from the war within their own minds with the PTSD, and so that's where the cosmic horror that we brought along connected with the slasher flick that Ian was thinking about. He had this setting, this historical setting, and the farmhouse situation, and we just tapped the supernatural and cosmic horror into like the script, and it just connected. Ian was so happy, right? You're always saying like, guys, this is like the
Yes.
sauce that was missing from this thing,
Totally. I had a first scrap a
like
first
a
treatment,
draft. Yeah,
a
draft.
draft. Yes, a first draft. And when they came with all the ideas and the whole universe, because Alexander is talking about Lovecraft, but they have a whole universe. They have a lot of IPs and stories that they tell for 20 years, and of course, when they bring all this for the story, all came together, and we had the script because we had just a first idea at the beginning.
Yeah, that, yeah. Exactly.
And so much of, the atmosphere and the tension in the film comes from that location. How did you find it and how much work went into, making it look so good on screen? Because it kind of
Oh,
looks like you could have
I
just
love this
traveled back in
AI
time.
framing thing, Ian, that you were there closing your door and then the camera just zoomed at your
But it's
little face.
something that I can't do anything about
I'm
it.
sorry.
I need
Can
to
you?
hope.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, this is the best now. I love it. Okay, can you make the can you make the question again? So,
Yeah, so
please.
obviously, so much of the atmosphere and the tension in this film, is set within, this location. How did you guys find it? And then, what work went into making it look so good and authentic, almost to the time period, on screen?
well, that because it is it is super authentic. That was the finding that just completed the like what the script like was missing. Like like Ian said, like I had this idea, this draft. Now he was missing this supernatural vibes, and now he's missing like the location and where is this happening, and then Ian found this home, this house where like it's over 100 years old. It is in the south region of Brazil, which is like the actual setting of this war. I mean, if you can see there, the vegetation that you can see in the background is very typical from this area, and it was not post production. It was everything was very authentic, right? Even to the vegetation, to the house that is from the period. So if you when we're in the basement of the house, like that is the real basement of the house, right? And the scenes that happen like on the living room, they happen like above the basement, right? Exactly where they were. I mean, you can't map this out on the movie when you're watching, but I think that this just shows us how authenticity is something that can be printed on screen. Like
Yes.
we had so I mean we had so it was such a micro budget that we had no like any other option unless we had to be authentic. So we couldn't build any period weaponry, so we had to find the collectors that had the real Brazilian Empire rifles and swords, and so that's I mean we had a lot of work in the wardrobe to make it real, to make it feel authentic because we couldn't bring those
Yeah,
from
we had to choose with a micro budget. We had to choose, and I think we choose very well because we had like five actors, soldiers, but we had the budget for or create
three.
five
Yeah, we had
uniforms
budget for 3 uniforms, so they had to,
or three completely perfect and
yes,
made with the real materials of the that time, and
yeah.
we chose for that. But we had to do a lot of schedule and production
We couldn't dress
to
them.
use
We couldn't dress
the
them all at
same.
once. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
But we went for the like the authenticity. I can't pronounce it. But yeah, that was the thing, and then we're very lucky because it shows on the screen and it feels real, and we're very glad with the results of
And
that.
the cast felt very real,
Yeah,
and to be at the place, at the code, everything I
totally.
think create this mood, not just for the audience, but for the whole crew and the cast, and that is on the screen. I hope.
I
It
think the,
is.
the other strong suit, as you just kind of said, that is the cast. They're all so strong. This is it's a chamber piece with only a handful of characters. What was it about each of them in casting that made you guys go, yeah, this is the person that I want to play this character?
I think we had very strong ideas at the beginning. This is one of the biggest contributions
Yes.
from our incredible producers and creators, Alexander and Dave Pazos, because they had the when they read the first drafts, they said we need to bring Luis Carlos Percy. It's our farmer, the villain of the movie, and at the beginning it was I love Percy, but he's an incredible actor, but
He's a voice
he's
actor
more a
mostly.
voice
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's more. And he's very famous in Brazil. He's like
Very famous
an
as a voice
idol.
actor, yes.
But and I worked with him a long time, but I never saw him acting beside
On screen,
voice
right?
acting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was a little, calm down, guys. Let's understand that. And I
Yeah.
tried a lot
You
of
need an
people and
audition, proper audition.
incredible actors, but
And we were
Percy is
saying,
like,
this is the guy. This is the guy. Come on, like,
yes.
yeah, let's make the audition, but this is the guy.
When I did, I said, "Well, let me try. I'm gonna record this," and I made a Zoom with Percy, and I said, "Can you read just a scene?" And in the first sentence, I was already writing for both
Yeah, yeah.
Alexander and Dave. We already have our farmer. It's all good. Thank you so
And
much.
then I got to tell you, I told you so.
Yes, yes,
This is the guy. Yeah, but you know,
yes.
he's an incredible, accomplished voice actor and theater actor. And people, I mean, like the people know him. He voiced Joe in the Last of Us video games and the series. Like he's very up to date. His voice is very present in the Brazilian like common imagination attached to big movies because he's dubbing like the big guys. So he has this very deep voice, and we worked with him as a deep voice villain in an audio production for Spotify. And that's why we were bringing him from the other production to this one. And Ian just, I need to, I know that he has a deep voice, but I need to understand if you know, can he make this villainistic character? Can we photograph him well? He will be good on the screen, and then that's it. You know, he carries like the tension of the movie, uh the whole film, because you know you need that character to carry out the thing, because the whole story is around, are we safe with this guy? Should we play along? Should we
No.
just, you know, kill everybody and then what? And
Yes.
so that's like he was perfect because of that. Without his presence, you know, everything that is written on the pages would not come to life if weren't for his massive talent in understanding the character and leaving him. You know, I was there in the set when he was preparing to, you know, to shoot, and he got into this kind of Jack Nicholson trance before the scene, and I was just afraid to get close. I was filming him from afar, and he was like rehearsing and everything else, and then he would like look at me like this, and then I was just, oh my god.
I,
I don't
I
I
don't.
don't want to tap into the process. And I'll just, yeah, let him loose. He knows what he's doing. Like he was the best. He's the best.
I
Loveliest
don't like
man
to.
on earth.
Yes, I don't like to show footage for the actors while we are filming because I don't think it's productive. But I show him at almost at the end of
By the
the
end of the
movie,
of the shoot, yeah.
the
He
shooting,
saw it
and
for the first time. He saw him on the
yes,
monitor, right?
he didn't recognize himself. He was like,
Yeah, he was
"It's
so
what's
excited.
that?" And I say,
He was like,
"Yes."
"Oh no, is that what I'm doing? Oh, I like that." That was by the end of the production, like
Yes.
and but it was very like authentic, like you can see it, like you believe the character completely.
Yeah, no, definitely. And why, obviously, the film showing at Fright Fest, there's always one or two films kind of playing alongside each other. Why do you each hope that people take a chance on seeing this film?
Well, what I can say is that this is a film that is I don't, maybe there are people who don't like jump scares. This is not a jump scare movie. Like, this is a selling point that we're saying that a lot of people around us say, like, do you have jump scares? And I don't like them. No, we don't have jump scares. But what we do in this picture is we hold and we accumulate tension.
Yes.
It starts as a slow burner. There's a situation in the beginning when they're fleeing the war, but the thing is building up tension. We're here trying to save our lives, running from everybody. Like, the war is closing in, and this guy seems super creepy, but it's the only chance we have to play along. Is he dangerous? Is he just weird? We can't do anything else because we don't want to stain ourselves with the sins of war. We want to get a clean exit out of this. We want to preserve our humanity, but can they? What would they be forced to do? Will their ambitions and previous stories tap into, like, the conclusion of this story? So that's the thing. Like, it's a slow burn, but
Yeah.
it delivers at the end. It's a lot of blood and gore and violence and bloody satisfaction.
Yeah.
But
Perfect.
that's why you should watch the Flash itself.
And for those that can't be at Fright Fest, where's the best place to go online for more information about future festival screenings and eventual release? Where should people be keeping an eye on?
Well, we do have a Instagram profile that people can watch the news and see what's happening with the movie. It's in Portuguese. Our profile is how can I say arroba
at at
at
yeah.
at at a própria carne. How can I explain that? For the I don't
Yeah, I mean,
know.
we can only spell it out, but
Yes.
I don't know if you're doing like a lettering on this show, but if you can write it out, I'll spell it out here in the chat, and you can
Yeah, I mean,
put it up.
I can get it off of like
Yeah, you
IMDb. I
can get
think
it.
it's
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Thank you.
but it is important for us to like put a light on the fact that we are still looking for distribution deals. We're also tapping into this. Like, it's a very small budget film, but it's a very well made, a very well accomplished. So if you distribute around Europe or United States, Asia, everywhere, I mean, we had a run in Brazil in movies, but we still, this movie is fresh. Is from the October of 2025. So what we want is to spread it around in all the platforms. So if you work with distribution, just look for us in the A Própria Carne, and then we can make this movie reach a bigger audience that we will be
Yes.
as honored as we can be for this movie to reach as many people as we can, because it's such a good movie.
cool. Well, yeah, so thank you both so much for your time
Thank
and best of
you.
luck with the Fright Fest screening.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Kat. Thank
much.
you so much.